Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Dateable, a show all about modern dating explained through people's behaviors, the whys of why people do the things they do and say the things that they do. And this past weekend, Julie and I had a chance to meet the people who do the things and say the things from our community.
It was the best weekend. I mean, first of all, it was so nice to be reunited with you in general. We had our date night.
That was
as
fun.
Well. We had a lot of fun times this weekend. And then we got wind that a group of folks were going to dinner together. We had our Community Member of the Month live stream last Thursday, and our Community Member of the Month, Yen. So we'll give
Spill
her
the beans.
a shout out. We'll do two birds, one stone. Congrats, Yen, for Community Member of the Month. But she spilled the beans that her and some folks were going to dinner. She told us the time, the date, and the location. So
And who was going.
And who was going.
Pretty much everything.
So as soon as she got off the phone, Yue was like, should we surprise them? And we're like, hell yeah.
And so we did. So we planned this the night before. I was basically fantasizing while I was sleeping about it and how we were going to go up to them. So at first we thought they were sitting in the back. So we thought it would be easy to go into the restaurant, buy some champagne, and then walk to the back. And then when we got there, they were right out in front. You could not miss them.
Well, our events producer, Louise, also met up with us and did this. And she walked by them at first and was like, I'm pretty sure they're right in the front.
They're right there. Yeah, there's no hiding. So we also had our other friend, Melissa, with us, who they probably would not recognize.
No.
So we sent her to go in, grab a bottle of champagne and come out, and then we did our thing.
Yep. And we also had pre-ordered the champagne, so they knew who we were coming in, the restaurant people. And then as soon as the group saw us and started screaming, and we were all singing Stay Dateable together, and people around the whole restaurant were looking at us, they thought we were super VIP. I've gone here so many times, and they've never given me the time of day. And the host or owner, whatever he was like, here's this table for you four, just out of nowhere. He was like, what can I get you? He was really just, he loved it.
Everyone looked so nice. They all dressed up in their best date attire. And the looks on their faces, it was just pure shock to begin with. Because I think it was so out of context. They were probably like, who are these random girls? Why are they screaming? I think we were more excited than they were.
Well, they had the shock value. Lydia, one of the members, was like, I heard your voice first. I'm like, I know that voice. I hear it every week.
And then she said, we caught this on video. She was trying to explain what was happening. And she's like, and then the podcast people showed up. We're the podcast people.
Well, she was, I guess, telling them that, she was explaining to her friends, who she was meeting up with in the first place. And these are all members of the Sounding Board, which is our premium community. And we did have one member, actually, that was an active member in the public group, Love in the Time of Corona. But the rest of them had been pretty much doing video calls for a year practically, really got to know each other as friends. And this was the first time a lot of them were meeting up in person. And it was the first time we were seeing a lot of them. It was so fun. People were exactly how I pictured them. There was not really any difference.
They were better.
Yeah. I think if anything better, there was it was such a smooth transition. It felt like we had known each other for years.
The best part was I told Julie, I said, we're not going to linger because it would be awkward if we went and we stayed and hung out for dinner. So we're like, let's get the fuck out after we do our surprise so that we don't make it awkward. And of course, the manager of the restaurant was like, hey, there's a table right next to them that opened up with two girls like to sit down and have a drink. And we were just so into it at that point. So we did. We ended up lingering.
Yeah, I've been there a zillion times and he hasn't given me the time of day, but he thought we were someone.
So if you ever want to seem important, just surprise a group of people and bring champagne.
Right. Get a group of people to yell Stay Dateable in the middle of nowhere. There we go.
Yeah, the people around that restaurant were probably like, what the fuck is going on?
I know. Yeah, it's crazy though. It's starting to feel like, old times again. I have gotten my vaccine and you've gotten the first dose, right, Yue? I feel like things are starting to feel like normal again. We definitely like went out hard that night and went to your boyfriend's after hours club also too. It felt like, I don't know, there was definitely like a sense of like old times coming back. This was probably the first night that I really felt like that, and I think more and more people are getting vaccinated. I got mine at Moscone Center in San Francisco, which is, for anyone that doesn't live here, is like a big tech conference hub. And it felt like a tech conference when I was in there. There was like, you know, blasting music. Like there was like the volunteers, like one guy, I'm like, I swear we need to hire him to do our merch. He was like spitting out different lines. He was like, once COVID's gone, you can get it on. That was my favorite one. Like he had a bunch of other ones, and I was like, damn, this guy's been practicing. But they had like a cutout with Dr. Fauci you could like take a selfie with at the end. Like it was like a scene. I felt like I was back at a conference. I'm pretty sure everyone else I've talked to has not had that same experience with vaccination site. Yeah, did you have that experience at all?
Oh, with my vaccination site? No, I went to Rite Aid. I was in line with all the other 80-year-olds getting their medication.
I read somewhere that it was a total missed opportunity because you know you have to wait 15 minutes in the seats after.
Yeah.
That they're like, we should have had like a single section where everyone could like meet and get to know each other.
Oh my gosh, that would be an amazing idea. That would be an amazing idea. By the way, I didn't know you had to stay 15 minutes. I booked another appointment right after mine, so I ran out. You're not supposed to, but for anybody who's getting their vaccines for the first time, just know buffer 15 minutes afterwards because
you are such a rebel.
I'm such a rebel. They have to observe you for 15 minutes. Just make sure you don't have any adverse reactions to the vaccine. Yeah, just schedule that correctly. But no, I did not have that spring break vaccine party experience like you did. I'm really jealous. You said there was music blaring.
Yeah, I mean,
so jealous.
Louise was saying that it was a little more toned down than I was describing, so I don't know if they changed it or it was just the time of day I went, or like it was like super hyped up. But it felt like a party, and I was like, oh my god, this is downtown San Francisco. I haven't been here in like a year.
I'm not going to lie, it's been a little uncomfortable just seeing a bunch of people around, and I don't know, like people still wear their masks, but they're so close to me and I can like touch them. I don't know anymore. I don't know how to feel around people
anymore.
Know.
I like wanted to give everyone hugs, and I think I did give some of the people hugs in our group.
Did too.
But it was like, I'm like, oh my god, do they want this? Do they not want this? It's so awkward. You know, you just don't know anymore.
It's really awkward. Can I just bring up the card I got from our server?
I totally forgot about this. Yes.
The night just got better and better. So we had a very nice server at the restaurant who, when I was in line at the bathroom, handed me this red card. If you're on YouTube, you can see this. If you're not, let me just describe it to you. On one side, it says, "Have a nice day." And on the other side, it says, "Just a courtesy note to let you know, damn, you are beautiful." That's it. That's all it says.
I mean, this guy kept coming around and like really touching you too. Like, remember we kept being like, this is kind of uncomfortable a little?
Yeah, because I'm not used to people touching me in general. And there's this stranger touching me, and then he hands me this card, and I forgot what it was like to talk to strangers. But I thought this card was interesting because it does not have his name or phone number. There's no follow-up. There's no call to action. It's just a card to make me feel good, which it does make me feel good. But hey, maybe this is like the new way of connecting with people. You just hand out cards, tell them they're cute or whatever, and then hopefully you find them on a dating app.
It's nice, but it's kind of missing a CTA. I think it needs
missing a CTA, yes.
Yeah, we did invent a really fun game, though, while we were hanging out. You know how there's always, like, one thing that you're like, Do I want to reveal this on a first date? Do I want to let this simmer a little more? And everyone has one. And it doesn't need to be something that like other people perceive as embarrassing, but it's whatever you kind of view as like something that you don't want to necessarily put out there. So we're calling it what? The BT dubs? Like, by the way.
Yeah, like, by the way, did you know that? So we went around, it was Julie, me, Louise, and our friend Melissa. We went around to say our BT dubs. What was yours, Julie?
Well, it started off because Melissa was talking about like really showcasing her cats, and we're like,
oh yeah, we're like,
that.
That's a BT dub.
Yeah, that's what kicked it off. But mine was that I do a dating and relationship podcast, which is not for everyone, you know? Like there's definitely...
That's right.
It's intimidating to some people, so I've heard. So that's definitely mine. I mean, I have another one, but I really probably wouldn't put that one out there. But...
Okay, all right. So you have a public BT dub and a private BT dub.
Exactly.
That I'll find out after we finish this recording.
But the best was I was like, "Yue, what's yours?" And you're like, "I have a boyfriend." That's my BT dub.
BT dub. I'm in a relationship. It's a pretty big BT dub. It's a capital like, BT dub.
If you were single, yours would probably be the same as mine. At least the dating expert. Relationship coach. You were the dating coach too, so
yeah, it's hard to lead with that when you're dating. It is a BT dub, but then also if they're on board with your BT dub, you're like, totally, you're fucking awesome.
It's a great filter. BT dubs doesn't always have to be something like, I'm obviously very proud of the podcast and I want someone that's super supportive of it. And BT dubs is like someone that's going to support you no matter what. But it's one of those things that could, you know, weed in the right people and weed out the wrong people is the BT dubs. You know?
Hey, it's
cat lovers could be totally down with the cat BT dubs, right?
Yeah, it's your own thing, but for the special person, you reveal it.
And we're like, maybe reveal it on like date 3.
Maybe not on a virtual call, but yes.
Although I do reveal the podcast early on. I used to not, and now I'm like, you know what? We're either on board or we're not.
It really just depends on the vibe, right? You're like reading the room.
Totally.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Some people you're like, yeah, he be down. Other people you're like, no, I'm going to save this for a year. Exactly. BT dub. Happy 1-year anniversary. I'm a dating expert. I've been scrutinizing your every move.
Are you speaking from experience when you were on dating apps? You was like, I have a YouTube channel I didn't tell you about.
I mean, if they don't know that you do this podcast by like date 5, they have not done their research.
No, that's the thing. That's why I'm like, idea just tell people. I think when we first started doing it, it wasn't as big a deal. But now it's like if you Google Julie like podcast, it comes up. Or you know, or like I don't know. I mean, I guess that's a bad example. Like if you Google my last name, like it's gonna come up, right?
Yeah, you can't hide it. It's no.
And nor should you. You know, you got to be proud of it.
But there's some ways to make this. I'm going to watch this transition, Julie. So there are some ways to make your BT dubs playful. And that's what our sounding board event is all about this coming Thursday. It's our Dateable After Show with the one and only Jeff Harry, who is on our show, on our episode all about making dating fun again by bring play into it. And he's going to be leading a workshop along with our very own Louise on how to just make dating more playful and fun. So maybe there's an opportunity to turn your BT dub into something more playful, like on a first date.
Absolutely. What a transition that was. I was like, where is she going with this? But that was dead on, you know, like this is going to be a fantastic event. Again, it's for sounding board members in the events tier. So if you need to learn more, we keep them limited. So you do want to get your spot if this is appealing to. If you love that episode, Make Dating Fun Again with Jeff Harry, you do not want to miss this. I mean, it's going to be amazing. I can't wait to hone it on our playful skills even more. So go to dateablepodcast.com/sounding board as long as you sign up for one of the events tiers, you'll automatically be included. You'll also get to come to the Sounding Board private group that we have. That's where the magic happens. That's where the happy hours, the podcast discussion groups. And this is a great transition also, is that for, you know, like pretty much since we started the Love in the Time of Corona group, which is the public group. So I will say this again because it's a little confusing. We have the public Love in the Time of Corona group. Anyone can join, pending you prove you're a real human that listens to Dateable. No bots,
yes,
but
no animals allowed.
Exactly. But then we also have the Sounding Board, which is our premium community. That's where everyone's like really making these deep friendships. And we had a group in New York hang out today. Like this is happening. We saw a group in Phoenix the other week.
Yes.
Like a group is organizing in Seattle. Like this is happening all around the country and hopefully soon the world. So from day one, we've had this group of hosts that have been like kind of the backbone of the community. Like they led the happy hours and podcast discussion groups, and we had them in the main group, and now it's transitioned into the Sounding Board. But we want to make them more prominent in the public group because they're just kind of the epitome of dateable. Like I think all of them are so dateable. And we also had the idea that we were going to bring them on for the next 2 episodes. So in this series of what is it going to be like coming out of this pandemic? Like we were saying, we're starting to feel the real light at the end of the tunnel here. Now that we're getting vaccinated, you know, things are starting to feel more like the old normal, you know, the new normal, I guess, is where we're evolved to. So we want to hear from our folks about, like, you know, what has their dating lives been like during the pandemic? What have they learned over this year? Because this year has been truly transformational for a lot of us. And then how are they going to emerge coming out?
And it just shows that everyone has a very strong story of why they sought us out. There was a reason why they were looking for dating podcasts. There was a reason why they typed in Love in the Time of Corona by the Dateable Podcast on Facebook. So you get to hear those moments in people's lives of when they said, I need a sense of community. I need a sense of belonging. And this is what I'm going to search for. And so this is a 2-parter. And for this first section of this episode, we are featuring 5 of our hosts, and you get to know them better beyond just the words that you see them type in the Facebook group. You get to hear their voice and get to know their personalities.
And they all have such distinct personalities, but they're all so damn insightful. That's what I get from all of them. And, you know, it's been really fascinating. They've all had a very diverse range of dating experiences during this time. Like some of them are emerging in new relationships. Some are in relationships they fostered throughout of COVID. Some of them have really embraced being single during this time and, you know, like found a newfound respect for that. So I think there's something to relate in everyone's story, no matter where you are in your own journey too.
And more importantly, how is everybody navigating this post-COVID era? Everyone has their questions. There's kind of, I don't know, just like things that you're like, is this still okay? Is this still something that I want to pursue? So you get to hear everybody's thought process through that. So in this first part, we've got Shieldy, Jason, Gisela, Brian, and Caitlin.